There we go.
Is it turning on you?
Yep.
Are we going to do it vertical?
Yes.
I thought we didn't do vertical videos.
It's not working.
Are we on? Oh, everybody's like, yes. Hey everybody, Adrian Fontes, Maricopa County Recorder. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about voter registration. We talked last week a little bit about how we were maintaining the list, how a person goes from active to inactive and so forth. Well, we want to talk to you a little bit today about some of the more important things for folks who are already registered or who want to get registered. Now, why are these important? Well, first of all, Maricopa County has a very transitory population, so people move, change party affiliations, things of this nature. Every time you do any of that, we've got to have that information to make sure that we're sending the right ballots to the right folks in the right places. So really, this is a partnership between the registrar of voters, and that's myself in my office as the county recorder, and the general public, the voting public. But one of the other important things that we heard very recently was from the Secretary of State. Now, they've got the duty of creating a form. We're the ones that get to print it up and distribute it. Now, you've all seen the old voter registration form. It's got a little box on the small half. This is the new voter registration form, and I want to show it to you real quick. This form actually is it's a full page. It's got much easier instructions. It has instructions in English and in Spanish in every single box instead of having to flip back and forth. So as you can see, what we've got here is all of the important information that we need. Now, why is this information important? Well, again, the process of registering an individual to vote, an eligible citizen for voting, requires that we have a whole bunch of information. Number one, we want to make sure that we've got the right person, that we're going to get the right ballot style to, so that depends on your address, so that has to be accurate. Number two, a lot of folks like getting their ballot in the mail. In fact, the vast majority of our voters in Maricopa County are signed up for the permanent early vote list, and that's right here at the top. So one of the first things you want to do is check the yes box, and that does a couple things. It doesn't prevent you from coming in and voting if you like, but what it does is it puts you on the list so we can get that ballot out to you. Now, why is that beneficial? Number one, it's a lot less expensive to process ballots this way. And number two, you get the ballot ahead of time so you can look at it, you can make your decisions and determinations at your own kitchen table, you can vote at home, and then either get it back to us in the mail or bring it into one of our many voting locations, polling locations. Doesn't matter where you bring it back to us, you can drop it in that box. So make sure when you're signing up, we recommend that you get on the permanent early vote list, like the vast majority of our voters do. Also, some of the other important things here that we want to make sure that we have in the last four of your social security number. Now, you look at this box, we don't want your whole social security number. That's not information that we need. We just want those last four and your driver's license number if you have those. Now, let's go back to the social security number. Why do we only want those last four? Well, number one, that's part of our identification check that we have to make sure that we're only registering voters that should be voting. Same thing with the driver's license. Additionally, that's an important way for us to verify later. Let's say that there's an issue with a signature or some other question. We'll use that and or your driver's license number to verify your identity. So those two are very important. But we also have a space for a tribal ID. If you're a member of a Native American community or a member of a tribe, you put that in there. And the other thing that I think is really important is this box over here has an alien registration naturalization certificate number. Now, the reason that we have that is because there's a lot of folks who get naturalized into citizenship, and that A number or alien registration number is the way that the federal departments track who's actually been naturalized and is a citizen and who has yet to be naturalized and is not a citizen. So if you've become a citizen, you've gone through the ceremony, you got sworn in, and you're now a U.S. citizen, that number is going to help us verify that you are, in fact, a citizen. And so that's why that's on there, and it's also very important for us to know. So some of these other things, party preference, that's entirely up to you. The two major parties have a block. If you're a member of one of the other parties, we can put you down for that one. A lot of folks don't have a political party, and that's fine too. There's a box for that. as well. And then we also have to have your date of birth, because guess what? Can't vote unless you're over 18, so we got to make sure we've got that. It's another piece of the puzzle of identifying individuals who are actually eligible to vote. So we're talking through this whole thing here. This question right here, telephone number, is also very important. Why? Well, a lot of folks will, and the vast majority, again, of our voters vote by the permanent early vote list, which means when they sign the envelope, which we check against your voter registration signature, once you sign that envelope, if there's some adjustment in your signature, let's say you broke your wrist, or you're suffering from Parkinson's disease and your signature changes, some folks will change their signature from age 18 to 25. It develops because you're using it more. So there's a lot of reasons why that may need to be looked at. We need that telephone number so we can call you quickly, ask you some questions about the other bits of information that we have on you, so that we can verify your identity and then verify that you actually sent your ballot in. Another one of the pieces of information here that's really important is maiden names, any former names that you may have had. We can go back and look at that information. And then this block down here is a lot bigger on the new form, which helps folks who are suffering from homelessness right now, or don't have a regular permanent address. Now, there's a lot of folks who live out on our Native American Indian reservations, again, folks who are suffering from homelessness or whatnot. This box actually gives folks without a physical address on rural roads, out in some agricultural communities, and so forth, a chance to draw a little bit of a map so that we can figure out what precinct you vote in. Because guess what? There's different ballot styles in different parts of the county. You might live out in a precinct, and there might be different ballot styles. You might fall into a particular fire district or a particular school district that someone who lives down the road from you does not live in. So this helps us figure that stuff out so that we can get you the right ballot style when we get you that ballot. The other question here is a really good one, and that's, are you willing to work at a polling station on election day? And that's really important because, as you know, we utilize something in the neighborhood of 4,000 different people on election day to help us with our logistics, with our technology, serving voters, making sure we keep those lines nice and short, informing folks and dealing with folks who are coming in to vote. And it's all part of serving you, the voters. And a lot of folks will sign up this way. So we'll put you on a list and then contact you as the elections get closer, bring you in for training, and then everybody who works on election day for us actually gets paid too. So we don't have any volunteers that do that sort of stuff for us. So there's tons of information on this form, which used to only occupy the bottom half of the sheet. Now it's a lot bigger. It's easier for folks to fill in the blanks and write them in. We worked with the folks over at the Secretary of State's office, with the other county recorders across Arizona to get this new design going. And so it's our job to make sure that we print these. Now, you've seen the older forms, you've seen the federal forms. This form is going to start hitting the streets here pretty soon, but the difference is we got to get through the old stock first. So if you're still seeing the other forms that are only half a sheet, they are valid forms. They're still good. We will still accept those forms, and we want to make sure that we get those used up because we printed up a whole bunch of them and we don't want them to go to waste. So if you're out there as part of a community organization who's registering voters, and you've got a whole bunch of those forms left over from prior voter registration campaigns and efforts, those are fine. You can use those, and that's great. These will be getting printed up here soon. We still got a bunch of the old forms back at the office, but I wanted to talk you through some of the stuff that's not different from the old form. The spaces are bigger. The instructions are all here. It's a lot easier to use for the individual voters, and those are the folks we really want to serve. So as you can see, it's just a much easier voter registration form to use. And if you look at the back side, the second page really is going to have your mailing address stuff right here, which is going to be for Maricopa County. And then the county recorder's addresses and phone numbers are all going to be on that form as well on the top half. So the good thing about that is our forms, you can use them in a variety of different counties. If you're bringing the forms in to us, we work very closely with our partners, not just you, the voters, but with all the other county recorders in Arizona to make sure that we're all sharing the information. So every once in a while, for example, let's say Wickenburg, who recently had an election, that north corner of Wickenburg is actually in Yavapai County. So my good friend Leslie Hoffman, who is the recorder up in Yavapai County, every once in a while we'll get a form from their office or that goes to them. We'll send that up to them, and every once in a while they get some forms from Maricopa County folks who have Maricopa County addresses. They'll send theirs back down to us. And we try to cooperate with folks all over the state when it comes down to those things. So again, Arizona's got a new voter registration form that will be hitting the streets here sometime soon. We still have the old half-sheet forms. They're still valid. They're still good. You can still use them. Please get out there and register more voters, because you know what? Maricopa County's got something in the neighborhood of about 1 million people who are eligible but still unregistered to vote. We'd like to get you all registered to vote, but this is not the only way to do it. And I'm talking a lot about this paper form, but if you go to servicearizona.com, if you go to maricopa.vote, if you go to cleanelectionsarizona.org, is it .org? You can vote. You can register to vote online. It'll direct you to servicearizona.com, which is part of the Motor Vehicle Division website. And why Motor Vehicle Division? Because if you've already got a driver's license in Arizona, what that means is we've already got proof of your citizenship or legal residency that turned into citizenship here in the great state of Arizona. We've already got your signature. Those are some of the essential elements of information that we need to register you to vote, so we can do that online. And Arizona was a pioneer. In fact, I think the first state to have online voter registration, as I understand, and it's been very convenient for folks. You can also do that online voter registration using your mobile phone, and that's also a very convenient way to do this. So not only the new paper form is available for you all out there, you can use servicearizona.com, or you can come into any of the registrars, voters, county recorders offices, really, all over the state of Arizona to do this. There are other state agencies as well. Some of the courthouses have these forms. If you want to use those paper forms, they get them all to us. So again, just wanted to show you real quick, and I'll just show it one more time. Arizona's new voter registration form. It's really easy to use. The instructions are in English and in Spanish on this side. It used to be you have to flip them back and forth, and it was a little bit confusing. Had a big block of text. It was a little more intimidating than this. The bigger spaces make it a lot easier to write down the letters and numbers that need to be on here. So it's more user-friendly. It's easier to understand and read, and to make sure that we get the right information in the right spots for you, the voters in Maricopa County. My name's Adrian Fontes. I'm the Maricopa County Recorder. I want to say go Sun Devils. We're out here in Marina Heights, right next to Rio Salado, and the former home of one of my heroes, Frank Kush. You know, I had a lot of great memories as a kid over here, so I just wanted to say a shout out and happy late Father's Day to my dad, who used to bring me out here back in 72, 73, 74, back in the heyday of ASU football. Hope things are going well for everybody. Have a great week. It's Tuesday. Get out there and do some good, and make sure that you get all the folks that you know registered to vote if they're not already. I'm Adrian Fontes, Maricopa County Recorder. Have a good week.